So along the kind of the note of humility that I experienced, the humility of the people that I experienced in Africa, there's a particular man that I taught. He was actually Ghanaian, but he had kind of, through a series of unfortunate events, he wound up in Sierra Leone. And he was extremely poor. He had gone to college, and so he was fairly well educated, but nonetheless found himself kind of without a job. And he tried teaching young kids. He tried teaching them. He kind of opened up a pay what you can school, and because he really thought education was important, and so he didn't have a building, but he more or less offered his service to teach little kids. And so whether it was in a church that was not being used that day, or under a mango tree on some benches, he taught. He taught, and he hardly got any money for that, because, like I said, it was just a pay what you can, and people can't really afford very much. And so he had just a handful of kids that he would teach. But we started teaching this man the gospel, and he seemed to catch hold of it very well. He was an individual that, kind of had some interesting ideas and a lot of really crazy, interesting life experiences. He had gone through a lot of hard times. He had made a lot of mistakes in his life, and as we were going through the commandments, he's like, "Yes, I've broken that. Yes, I've broken that. Yes, I've broken that." But he was incredibly humble at the same time, and he was just like, you know what, I realize that this is not good, that I should not do that. And he was so willing to follow what we were saying, and he was just very, very accepting. We just worked our way through the lessons pretty quickly, and there was a time where we got to teaching about the law of chastity, and we taught him about it. He accepted it. He decided that was the way he was going to live in his life. But a little while later, it kind of put him to the test a little bit, because he had found a girlfriend in the place in Sierra Leone that he kind of liked, and at the same time he was kind of without a home. He was renting a place for a little while, but he had been kicked out. And so he kind of needed a place to at least put his belongings, and kind of a place to sleep. And so he moved in with this girl, and we talked to him about that. We're like, we taught you about the law of chastity, and he said, yes, I know, and I'm keeping the law of chastity, and he kind of reassured us. But we told him, we're like, you can't continue to live with a girl, because you can't do that. And the temptation is just too great for someone who is trying to keep their lives chaste. And so pretty much that meant for him that he was going to have to go homeless, because she was the only one that was willing to kind of take him in and give him a place to sleep. And so, but as we told him that, as we explained to him that he just can't do that, the risk is not worth it, that he actually did leave the house. I mean, he left his stuff there, but he began sleeping on the seashore in some fisherman's hut, where it was, I guess, got super cold at night, but he was humble and willing to follow what we told him was right, and so he was actually able to go without a home, and that was really inspiring to me. Like, would I go homeless for the gospel? Would I give up, the shelter that I have to sleep in for the gospel? And so that really struck me. And there are so many people like that there, that are willing to give up so much for the gospel. And so his story has kind of inspired me ever since then. Like, if I were required to, what would I be willing to give up for what I know to be right?